Transformers number 18 from Image Comics and Skybound comes to comic book shops on March 12, 2025. And in this issue, we unleash a seismic shock. Megatron storms back to crush the chaos. Is it worth the ride? Let's find out in 3, 2, 1. Before we dig in, let's recap what happened in Transformers number 17. Thundercracker uncovered the grim fate of Skywarp, who was dissected for parts within the Ark's depths. Cliffjumper guided his comrades to the Hall of Sparks, a sacred Autobot forge, crafting a new warrior from the remnants of fallen allies. Meanwhile, in Seattle, the towering combiners Bruticus and Devastator clashed anew as Optimus Prime's Autobots raced to shield the city's inhabitants. And that brings us to the current issue. In Transformers number 18, the tides of war shift relentlessly. On Cybertron, Elita 1 and her squad face a barrage from Decepticon forces, their barricade shattered by a precise grenade strike. As defeat looms, Cliffjumper's creation, a new Autobot called Shredhead, who is a relentless Autobot juggernaut, emerges, tearing through the enemy ranks with ease. Elsewhere, RC and Carly strive to persuade Ultra Magnus, who has now decided to isolate himself from the rest of the world, that Shockwave's tyranny has ended, urging him to return to the Autobot cause. He wavers until G.I. Joe infantry units ambush them. A fierce skirmish follows, and though most Autobots escape with their lives, Ultra Magnus and Carly are captured by the G.I. Joe infantrymen. In Seattle, Bruticus and Devastator's colossal duel ravages the city, aided by Soundwave and Starscream's ruthless tactics. The clash escalates as the giants scale a skyscraper, only to plummet from its peak into a crater down in the streets below. The issue crescendos when Megatron, the Decepticon leader of old, strides forth to reclaim his throne, dismissing Soundwave, scattering Starscream, and driving the Autobots into retreat. And that's the issue, so let's talk about first impressions, art, pros and cons, what have you. The words that come to mind in this case are dynamic, relentless, and utterly electrifying. Transformers number 18 crafts a saga that pulses with intensity. Daniel Warren Johnson orchestrates Megatron's return with masterful timing because he makes one heck of an entrance, and it elevates this stellar series to new heights. You are going to love this issue if you are an OG G1 generation Transformer fan. Switching gears to the art, Jorge Corona's artwork bursts with plenty of detail, lots of raw emotion, and explosive action. An unyielding feast for the eyes, if you want to term it that way. Character designs radiate power, the chaos leaps off the page because there is non-stop action, and his visual storytelling, in the case of Corona, is nothing less than exceptional. We were kind of sad to see Daniel Warren Johnson roll off of art duties, but Jorge Corona is killing it. Let's talk about the pros and cons, starting with what's great about Transformers number 18. Daniel Warren Johnson delivers breathtaking moments that seal the deal if you're a Transformers fan. You get towering robot clashes, unexpected arrivals across the threads of stories that are going on, and shifting fortunes on all fronts. The series remains an unpredictable thrill ride, and it's captivating from start to finish. So what's not great about Transformers number 18? There's one little creative choice that sort of jars the narrative a little bit. G.I. Joe forces opt for lethal action against Ultra Magnus when they show up on the scene, despite civilians like Carly and Spike obviously nearby. It feels out of character for the Joes, who are clashing with their usual sense of honor and duty to protect civilians. If they're just fighting robots, sure, have at it. But if there are humans nearby, you'd think they'd be a little bit more careful, and they just don't show any concern whatsoever. So it feels a little out of place for a G.I. Joe, even for a no-name infantryman. Let's take a step back and look at the bigger picture. More than any previous issue, Transformers number 18 comes closest to the highly anticipated G.I. Joe Transformers crossover when the infantry forces actively engage in a small skirmish. To be fair, there isn't a recognizable Joe in the bunch because all you see are generic soldiers with Joe patches on their uniforms, but that appearance is still moving the series to an eventual showdown. When will that showdown occur? Honestly, not quite sure. Skybound hasn't announced a formal date, but we'll report on it when they do. So final thoughts, what do we think about Transformers number 18 from Image Comics and Skybound? It surges with ferocious action and pivotal entrances, igniting the spark of any Transformers fan. Daniel Warren Johnson weaves multiple fronts together with gripping energy and force, and Jorge Corona's art is spectacular. Therefore, Transformers number 18 from Image Comics and Skybound earns a 9.5 out of 10. Give a thumbs up if you thought this review was helpful, and share in the comments below which Decepticon deserves the next spotlight, one that you haven't seen before, even if it's a different generation than G1. Let me know about it. So thank you very much for joining, and stay tuned through the outro for more reviews just like this one.